As many of you noticed, I put up the short video on the crucifixion rites in Pampanga province. And you might not be able to understand a lot of it because it might be in Tagalog. I really didn't pay any attention to the language itself. But the pictures are tell you the whole story. These men are trying to make their sacrifice or their penitence like Christ did. And in the 21st chapter, I believe it is, of Psalms, I had it here. Bear with me for a minute. I lost it. In the 22nd chapter of Psalms, it says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And why art thou so far from helping me, and from the words of my roaring? O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent. But thou art holy, O thou that inhabited the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in thee, they trusted, and thou didst deliver them. They cried unto thee, and were delivered. They trusted in thee, and were not confounded. But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men, and despised of the people. All they that see me laugh me to scorn. They shoot out the lip, they shake the head, saying, he trusted on the Lord, that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. But thou art he that took me out of the womb. Thou didst make me hope when I was upon my mother's breast. I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, and there is none to help. Many bulls have compassed me, strong bulls of Bashan have beset me round. They gaped upon me with their mouths as ravening and a roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart was like wax. It is melted in the midst of my bowels. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me unto the dust of death. For dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and feet. I may tell all my house, they look and stare upon me. They part my garments among them, and cast lots for my vesture. But be not thou far from me, O Lord, O my strength. Haste thee to help me. Deliver my soul from the sword, my darling from the power of the day. Now, of course, those particular scriptures right there were talking about and prophesying the crucifixion. Probably almost 3,000 years before it happened. And I wonder a lot of times if we get the full story of the measure that this man Jesus suffered for his innocence, because he took upon himself the sins of the world. Jesus said, I came not to condemn the world, but that through me the world might be saved. And then after he rose again, he said, he that believeth on me shall be saved. He that believeth not on me is condemned already. The condemnation came upon the world by his death. And I don't care what anybody says, there is condemnation upon the unbeliever's head. There is condemnation day and night upon their head. And the Bible says here that his bones were out of joint. Can you imagine them laying him down and nailing him to that cross? Not a nail, a spike. A Roman spike. And then raising that cross until it dropped into that hole. The man was pinned there. His weight came down upon his hands and his legs, and I would imagine that they were out of joint. I imagine that the pain that he was feeling then almost surpassed the pain that he had felt before. But if you can imagine great pieces of flesh being torn off your rib cage from the beating that you had. The whiskers, like I said before, were plucked out of his face in great swaths with the skin with it. No man received a beating like he did. He was marred above any other man. But yet he took it willingly. He took it because down the road he could see you. He could see me. He could see the many millions who would come to that valley of decision and take the right way. Now I know the last few days have been very, very hard on me. Satan is hitting me with everything that he has, or everything that I know he has. And the only thing I can do is pray and trust that God is going to bring the victory. That God is going to keep the promise that he will deliver his people. Jesus paid for that deliverance. Jesus paid in such a way. I was reading about the Shroud of Turin the other day, and it said that the blood stains were tested, and they had bilirubin in them. And bilirubin only gets into blood from a traumatic event on your body. And it said that Jesus' blood came out with the XX factor. It was AB positive. It was a very very uncommon blood type. And the XX factor was from his mother only. And the film said that this would be consistent with a virgin birth, because the mother gave her portion of DNA to the individual, but the father's portion of DNA did not come through. And so when this man came, he knew from the beginning what his purpose was. And there's a place in the Bible that says he set his face steadfastly toward Jerusalem, knowing that his hour had come, seeing down the lane or down the road his crucifixion, and possibly even feeling the throbbing pain from what he was about to experience. He even tried to turn away in the Garden of Eden. or the Garden of Gethsemane, pardon me, when he said, Father, if it be thy will, let this cup pass from me. Find another way, Lord. Do it some other way. Redeem fallen man. But then just that quickly he said, nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done, Lord. I'm not sure that if I were in the same position, that I would die as gracefully. And of course, Jesus knew where he was going. He'd come from there. He had experienced glory. He had experienced the wonders of heaven. And he knew that as soon as his work was done, that he was going back there. But still in all, the man in him, the person in him, I think cried out and said, no, you don't have to die. You don't have to die for these people. They don't care. And friends, 2,000 years later, it's still the same thing. They don't care. They use his name as a byword, a swear word, a name of surprise or disgust, but they do not use it in the way that would save their souls. The prison door was kicked open, and the pardon was in the warden's hand. And all that person had to do was to take that pardon and walk out. Free, clean, no record. But if you sat back down on the cot and let the warden stand there with the outstretched document, then who is going to be blamed in the end? Who are we going to be able to point to and say, they were the reason I wasn't able to go? They are the reason that I wasn't able to make it into eternity. There will be no excuse. And when we look back on Calvary, and I know there's many that would say we worship the cross. No. No, because in so doing we would worship death. But I look to the cross and I see the beginning of my deliverance. I see the first step of my salvation. And when they dropped that 200-pound cross in that hole, and his body jerked from the sudden stop, I know that salvation was on its way. And I know that if people call on him today, and this is a simple truth, I'm not trying to teach great and flowing things right now. I'm trying to teach Jesus Christ and him crucified. That's it. We gain nothing by arguing the different aspects of Christianity. We gain nothing by standing around and saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. When the only thing that we need to change our lives and to cause us to come out and stand in the light of truth is the acceptance of that innocent man going to the cross for us. And I know the nature of man. Man has always done it. I'm not guilty. I didn't do anything wrong. I am a servant to no man. If you don't think so, try to get free. Try to break the chains of hell, and you'll see how tightly they are wrapped around you. And you will see, if you can look upon the majestic glory of God, the Father that dwells in the light which no man can approach, the God that dwells in the thick darkness and the pillar of fire, you will see what filthy rags you are wearing. You will see how wrong your attitudes, your thoughts, your actions, your dreams are. Everything needs to be cleansed by the BLOOD, the blood. There were many Yeshuas or Joshuas in Hebrew walking the streets of Jerusalem at that time. But there was only one who was Yeshua the HaMashiach, the Messiah. There was only one whose blood was pure enough, and he kept himself righteous enough to be the sacrificial lamb for us. Now, it's only for us to believe and to see beyond this veil of tears, this reality of smoke and mirrors that is not really a reality, and to grab hold of a simple truth. There is a being out there called God, and he is waiting to face each and every one of us. And when you look into those eternal eyes, the question is going to come, what did you do with my son? What did you do to honor his sacrifice? Did you turn away, or did you accept it freely? And friends, the pretenses, the falsities, the facades will all be gone then, because you have a being who is looking into your very soul and knows your intent, knows the thoughts of your heart, knows why you did a certain thing. Others might have thought you did it for your own glory or notoriety, but God knows that you did it for him. Or conversely, others might think you've done it for God, and they bring out the praise for you, the adoration for you, and in the meantime you are whipping out your W-2 form or your income tax return so that you can put down that little thing down there for a deduction. You want the glory of God, or do you want the glory of man? Do you want to remember his sacrifice, or men who are like leeches, latch on to you and never care what happens? Your decision is now. Your decision is this moment. You cannot see him now. You cannot feel him now. You cannot hear him now. But all he wants for you to do is say, like the publican in the temple, Lord, forgive me, a sinner. Change my attitudes, change my outlook, change everything about me, Father, and give me a new lease on life. And you will start hearing and seeing and feeling the God of glory. With a sincere prayer, sincerely a broken heart, that rejects its sin, rejects its wrongdoing, then you will be His. God bless you. God keep you. Stay in the Scriptures. I cannot stress that enough, because the time is coming very soon, and I've seen it, when the Bible will be taken away from many, possibly the whole world. And what you have to dwell on, what you have to go by, will be what you've hidden in your heart. Now, have you hidden all kinds of arguments about who Jesus was, and is there going to be a rapture, and when it's going to be, and what is salvation, and everything like that, then you're going to be clouded in your understanding. Take only Jesus and Him crucified, risen from the dead, ascend to the Father, and sent the Holy Spirit to guide us and to teach us the Scriptures. Maranatha.